I know I did. Normally, these kinds of protracted intros, especially where I go into my whole thought process behind the video, are terrible for viewer retention. Like, I know, I'm bad with that sometimes. Even my friends are like, dude, Arlo, you need to get to the point faster. But I hope in this case you can see that this is a relevant part of the conversation. This right here is my Switch 2 1-year anniversary video. The Switch 2 is now 1 year old. Wow, can you believe it's been that long? Yada yada, etc. Normally, this kind of video is quite fun and quite easy to make. You just talk about how the first year went, talk about the system, talk about the games, talk about the overall reception, and you're good. But I have had a weirdly hard time making this video. And it's because the Switch 2 has had a weird first year. And see, that shouldn't matter. That shouldn't make my job harder. If anything, it should make it easier. The Switch 2 having a weird first year, that right there is an angle, you know? Super positive video, everyone's happy. That's cool. But there's a more critical slant. Oh, drama. Ooh, spicy. Time to spill the tea. Like either way, it's supposed to work, right? So I was preparing the video and I had an idea of how it would be structured. And you know what? Anyone who thinks I'm too long-winded, if you've ever commented and been like, he took 20 minutes when he could have summed it up in 30 seconds, well, you're in for a treat. Basically, I planned to say that I think the Switch 2 is at a weird first year for 3 main reasons. First, it's the economic situation it launched in. Nintendo could not have possibly picked a worse time to launch a new system, and now we got all these high prices, probably more on the horizon, yada 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 yada. Boom, done, point made. Second reason, despite having a lot of time to prepare for this generation, despite how the Switch 1 game output kind of slowed down in the last few years, despite having kind of a good amount of titles lined up, Nintendo has had a weirdly hard time convincing everyone to buy a Switch 2. It's still selling well, there are still plenty of early adopters, but there's this weird sense that they haven't delivered any absolute must-have experiences yet. I personally think DK and Pokopia are must-haves, but I guess we just haven't had one of those games with that same level of just humongous, crazy broad appeal as we saw with Mario and Zelda in the first year of Switch 1. It's kind of like a lot of people are still waiting for the generation to really start. And then the third reason the year was weird, worth touching on briefly, all of this has added together and kind of poisoned the well. Nintendo has always had critics, myself included, of course, but now there is this unprecedented hate campaign against the company. For many, they have been lumped in with the most vile companies in the industry. All nuance has gone out the window. They are the bad guys now, full stop. Now, without going too deep into it, I do understand why this is happening. It's happening in the greater game industry, it's happening outside of the industry, and it's largely a symptom of a populace that is scared and feeling really helpless and adopting black and white thinking as a way to cope with the horrors of the world. You know, people rallying behind their white knights who can do no wrong, literally impossible for them to do wrong, and declaring war against the soulless forces of evil out to threaten their well-being. People are so eager to find the next bad guy. They're fanatical in their hate because it makes them feel stronger. It makes them feel like they're doing something. Because of this, video game discourse overall has become so toxic. And of course, talking about Nintendo, whatever. I can't even finish the quick summary version of the video I was going to write. Even that was hard to get through because it's just so tiring. And that right there, the fact that there is so much to say, but I'm getting so tired of saying it, is what really jumped out at me when I started to prepare this video. If there's anything I feel like I need to say about the first year of Switch 2, it's that it's really changed the very nature of being a Nintendo YouTuber for me. Or it's reflected that change, however you want to look at it. We had no idea how good we had it during the Switch 1 generation. In retrospect, those really were the good old days. From the YouTuber perspective, we were having the time of our lives. Everyone wanted Switch content. Everyone wanted to talk about Nintendo. And then the last few years of Switch, things did kind of die down, hype levels evened out, and we thought the Nintendo sphere just needed a shot in the arm. We just needed a new system, and the hype train would get rolling again. But now, the whole situation is so muddy and weird, and all this uncertainty and just the unprecedented negativity it's created is affecting everyone. Even people who still like Nintendo just seem to be less excited about things, because it's hard to be excited when every comment section on every video and every article is overrun by the same bad faith arguments. And of course, valid criticism is always fine, but even the valid criticism can be exhausting when it's just there all the time, no matter where you go. It's all anyone can talk about. People are still playing Nintendo games, but overall interest in Nintendo is down. The community element has been compromised, which leaves us more and more just, playing the games quietly on our own and trying not to engage online. And making content, again, we're well past the glory days. Switch 1 struck the perfect balance. This was Nintendo at their peak, so there was always something super positive to talk about. But the audience was so huge that controversies themselves were also very, very huge. Make a video about something super positive? Everyone wants to see that. Wow, what a great time. Something really negative happens, make a video criticizing Nintendo? Everyone wants to see that too. Ooh, juicy drama. But now, the equilibrium is off. Have a super positive opinion? Half the audience doesn't want to hear it. Now you're just bootlicking. Say something really critical? The other half of the audience doesn't want to hear it. They are overwhelmed by the negativity. Video games are supposed to be fun, right? Like, what happened? This is supposed to be, kind of an escape. Over this last year, talking about Nintendo has become less fun than ever. Even the Wii U days, even when it felt like Nintendo could not stop screwing up, and a lot of us were really frustrated, it was nothing like this. And YouTube is a personality-driven creative medium. Things becoming less fun is dangerous. Very, very, very dangerous. If I'm not having fun, the work is going to reflect that. And if the work is less fun, people will not enjoy watching it as much. We're all here because of our shared love of video games. Without that love, we have nothing. I don't want you to think I've been phoning it in or anything. I still love doing this. I still really love this job. I have had a ton of fun playing Nintendo games this year, but that weirdness is always lurking below the surface. I feel less confident than ever when I post a video. And without boo-hooing too much about the business side of things, interest in Nintendo content really is lower than it has been in a decade. And it's not just me. All my YouTuber friends are feeling it. Comparable content that was wildly successful last generation is getting a fraction of the attention this generation. The hype just isn't there. And even beyond business, the career, the numbers, it's kind of hard to play to an audience that isn't very enthusiastic anymore, Like, if you're not having a good time, of course I'm not having a good time either. This is only worth doing if we are all having a good time. And trust me when I say this. Please, 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 oh pretty please, trust me when I say this. This is all worth doing because of you. Without you, this would be just another desk job. This would just be another excuse to get on a computer for 8 hours a day, blah, 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 and collect a paycheck, Okay, yeah, there's the perk of being able to play Nintendo games every once in a while, but beyond that, the entire reason this is worth doing is because you and I have a good time with it. So then, what's the answer? What should we do? If the Switch 2 has had a really weird first year and it doesn't really look like the big picture is going to improve anytime soon, what is the best way forward? What has this last year taught me about the coming year? Well, obviously, there's a whole lot that's completely out of our control. Like nothing is permanent. Absolutely everything changes, and that's okay. Maybe us Nintendubers will never see the same level of crazy, insatiable hype that we saw during the Switch generation ever again. It's just the way of things, isn't it? Nothing can last forever. Every bag has a last chip. But there's one thing that I am completely sure of. What the world needs right now is more positivity. And what this entire hobby needs in order to survive is fun. This next year, I want to really focus a lot more on positivity and fun. That does not mean that I'm going to stop speaking critically at times and covering the more negative aspects of Nintendo and the greater industry. We always need nuance. People who claim that Nintendo is pure evil and driven by nothing but greed, and the people who defend every single thing they do, are equally wrong. We're funny. We invent stories to help us make sense of a senseless world. We paint things in black and white because it's easier to think that way. It takes less brain power than really considering every single thing we're exposed to. But more than ever, we need people willing to be reasonable, willing to cut through the stories, to look past the straw men, to think for themselves without getting swept up in these convenient, comforting narratives. I have been called a Nintendo shill and a Nintendo hater in equal measure over these last 11 plus years. And that ain't changing anytime soon. When the company does something good, I'm gonna talk about it. When they do something I don't like, I'm gonna talk about it. And I'm certainly not gonna start putting a positive spin on everything and ignoring all the bad, but I do think we could all stand to find more ways to be appreciative, to focus a little bit more on what brings us joy. Unfortunately, I can't necessarily start talking exclusively just about what I want to talk about at any given moment. The sad reality of full-time YouTube is that it gives you the ability to make way more content than you would have otherwise, but at least to a degree, you do have to go where the content is, where the interest is. People want to hear me talk about the news. I gotta keep talking about the news. But I want to spend at least more time talking about whatever interests me. So then, what does interest me? What do I want to talk about a lot more during the Switch 2's second year? What do I want to say about the first year? We may get distracted by the news, by all the industry drama, but what does it always come back to? Why are we here? It's the games. It is the video games. If anything has brought me joy so far this generation, it's been playing and talking about the games themselves. So for the rest of this Switch 2 1-year anniversary video, I want to talk about some gall darn Switch 2 games, gall darn it. And you know what? We've covered all the failings, all the misfires. We don't need to talk about Mario Kart's open world, or Metroid Prime 4's desert, or Mario Party Jamboree's all of that. I don't care about any of that right now. Let's talk about the best experiences I have had so far this generation. And you know what? I am gonna start with Metroid Prime 4. The game has got problems. I have not finished it yet. I am prepared for the inevitability of it taking a turn in the second half, like I keep hearing, sure. But all of that drama makes it really easy for me to forget how much the first part of the game impacted me. Like, I completely stand by my first impressions video. The first chunk of the game, like mainly the intro, definitely some stuff within like the first couple of worlds, but like mainly just the introduction, it blew me away. I could not believe it. I really do need to do the full review. I'm sorry it's taking so long, but like I really cannot stress it enough. The game really hit me very, very hard. Just like the art and the graphics and the music and the atmosphere and everything. It was an unforgettable experience. It was everything I could have wanted and more. And I cannot forget that. I cannot let all of this junk distract me from that fact. Like, even if the game's got problems, even if the game's got Miles McKenzie, so much of this game is just pure art. And the first time picking up the game really was one of those like early generation defining moments for me. Then playing Mario Kart World, not quite as strong and like artistic of an experience, and like, yeah, again, that game does have problems, but I really can't deny that picking it up for the first time did feel really amazing. It really did give me some of those like really good early generation memories where you feel like you're playing something very new, very fresh, very special. Just cruising around this world at my own pace and like kind of like slowly, I think it's an experience a lot of other people share, just slowly discovering how amazing the soundtrack was, you know what I mean? Just slowly being like, what the heck is going on? That's a memory that's gonna stick with me. Just one of those memories I will always associate with the early days of this new system. And then we had Kirby Air Riders. I'm not surprised the game turned out good. Obviously, this is a Sakurai joint after all, and yet somehow I'm just still surprised. Like somehow I am still, it's just so good. It's just the entire package is just so polished, so much fun. The presentation is just so sharp and clean. The gameplay is so refined. The whole thing is just packed with so many options and features. It's just like basically everything you could possibly want the game to be. And even after Mario Kart and DK, somehow it still felt like the most impressive game on the Switch 2 on a technical level. It just runs so flawlessly without any compromises. It's a marvel. Then Kirby also had the Forgotten Land Switch 2 edition, the Star-Crossed World campaign, also just an absolute highlight this generation so far. I mean, like, it you know, is not very long. It's really only like a few hours long. So it doesn't stick in my memory quite as much as these other games that I spent a lot more time with, but like still, like, oh my gosh, it was so good, so well designed. And more than anything, just seeing Forgotten Land looking and running this good on my TV. Oh, just what a joy. I know I've gone on about it more than enough, but like Forgotten Land is just, it's really something special. It's an absolute work of art, and now it is unshackled. Everything is so smooth and clean and beautiful and wonderful. It's just perfect now. It's absolutely perfect. Then Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment. You know, I certainly wouldn't consider it to be like a great game. It's a good game. It's a fun game. And yet, for anyone who's played it, anyone who knows what I'm talking about, Calamo and the Mysterious Construct, that character pairing and just like the narrative payoff and all of that stuff, like that has been a highlight. That was a whole lot of fun. Nothing super duper special. It's not gonna win any awards, but like coming from Zelda, you know, I think that's really, like, coming from Zelda, I can say it was really nice. When I think about my favorite experiences on Switch 2 thus far, it's definitely on the list. And then, of course, you got the really big games. You got DK Bonanza. This game right here, like, yeah, I mean, it's another game. Sorry, still working on, like, the full review. But if it's taking a long time, it's because I have so many thoughts. This game, I don't know, man. I don't know, like, it's kind of a shame that it came out so early in the generation, and right now the overall Switch 2 install base is still relatively low. So, you know, it's not like, you know, Mario Odyssey or something where like everyone's played it by now. It's still a game that not everyone has played. And of course, it doesn't quite have the same appeal. Not everyone is into this whole destruction thing. So it's kind of sad because in my heart, in my mind, this is a really special game. This is one of those games. This is absolutely a system seller, a generation-defining game. I won't go into the whole thing here, obviously, but like, no, this was special. This was really, really, really special. Between the gameplay, the mechanics, the exploration, the atmosphere, the story, and the characters, just like everything about the game. Just like 10 out of 10 Nintendo. Again, with all of the drama going on in the world, it's easy to forget the experience that I had with DK Bonanza. I have to remind myself, no, that was one of those games. That was absolutely one of the... I think DK Bonanza is one of the best games that Nintendo has put out, just like... I don't even know. Just in years and years and years. And they've put out a lot of great games. That's really saying something. They put out a lot of games that I really, really like, and still, I think DK Bonanza is like really, really up there. And honestly, I feel the same way about Pokopia too. That one, I'm hoping that the review comes a little bit sooner. I've been like actively working on the script for that one, hoping to do it soon. And yeah, you know, no spoilers or anything, but I also think it's a special game. I think it's one of the best games that Pokemon has put out. Full stop. It doesn't have the same like big, crazy, flashy appeal of a lot of other like big Nintendo tentpole games. Your Zelda, your Mario Kart, and all that stuff. It's a lot more subtle. It's a lot more understated. You know, it's a cozy game, and yet I feel like what it accomplishes, both in terms of gameplay and like story and atmosphere and character and everything, I also think it's a very, very special experience. And it's kind of sad that a lot of people still feel like, Switch 2, I don't know, nothing's really grabbing me yet. For me, Pokopia is one of those games that again makes me feel like, this was a worthy purchase. Even if these games are not like broadly considered system sellers, for me, we now have multiple games that I would consider like, I'm just tripping over my words here. Very good. Very, very, extremely, super, duper good. So I had a ton of fun with that, and like I streamed a bunch of Pokopia too, so like that was a really, really fun experience playing it with the community. That was awesome. And if I want to pit the two games together, DK and Pokopia, just like for like what was my favorite experience on Switch 2 thus far, I think I have to give it to DK. With Pokopia, I really enjoyed it, but my appreciation for what it is and what it accomplishes slightly outweighs the fun that I had with it. Like, for instance, I'm not the kind of person who's like gonna rebuild this whole entire world, you know what I mean? So like I'm not engaging with it quite in the same way, like to get the best experience out of it as a person might. So because of that, yeah, I'm gonna give it to DK. Just as an overall experience, that has hit me the hardest. I appreciate that game on a very deep artistic level, and I enjoyed that game on a very deep level. And you know what, finally, let's talk about surprises. Let's talk about surprising Switch 2 experiences that I maybe did not expect to enjoy as much as I did. We were all trash talking Dragon Drive. Why does this stupid game exist? Why is Nintendo stuck in the past? Why are we getting another silly motion control game? Why are we getting a game that's basically ARMS except less interesting? Blah, blah, blah. And you know what? I thought it was a cool game. I played the game. I was very, very, very surprised by how much I enjoyed it. Go watch my review if you want the whole thing. But like, no, I don't know. I still think that you could argue that it probably wasn't like a wise project for Nintendo to do. But I could see the heart that went into it, and there is so much more to enjoy there than I expected. Mainly just in like the fact that you use the Joy-Cons to move all the arms around, and there's just like, I don't know, like the game doesn't look like it has a lot of personality on the surface, but the players inject it with so much personality, with all the motion controls and everything. It's a little bit hard to explain. Again, go watch my review if you want, but like, no, I had a weirdly good time with Dragon Drive. And then Yoshi and the Mysterious Book. I did go into it with an open mind. I did want to play it. I expected to enjoy it on some level, but I think I ended up enjoying it, just a lot more deeply than I expected. And I did just very recently put out a review on that one if you want my full thoughts. It's another case where I feel like, was it wise for this to be Yoshi's next game? Was this a game Nintendo should have made for the Switch 2, especially so early on? I don't know. But for what the game is, what it's trying to do, it does that very well. It does that so incredibly well. This really is just like Nintendo fun, creativity, whimsy, cranked up to 11. It's so creative, it's so silly, the atmosphere, the visuals, everything, for what it's trying to do, it does it. And again, it surprised me. Even though I did go into this one expecting to enjoy it on some level, being open to the idea of enjoying it, I was still surprised. I think years from now, we're gonna be getting a whole slew of like these long video essays looking back on Yoshi and the Mysterious Book as a very underappreciated gem. So there you have it. Did the Switch 2 have a weird first year? Sure. Are things weird right now? Sure. Will they continue to be weird? Yeah, probably. But you know what? It was also a fun first year. And I am looking forward to an even more fun second year. It's too easy to let the weight of the world drag you down, and it's too easy to lose sight of why we all do this, why I'm making this video, and why you're watching it. Because it's fun. But now we can take a moment to find our footing again, to approach the next 365 days with a more hopeful spirit. Whatever happens in the world of Nintendo, I think there will be plenty of fun to be had. Yep. Still feels good.